Hey guys, thanks a lot for clicking on the channel. So, as you can tell from the thumbnail, today we're going to be talking about the Game Boy Advance. So, it was released in 2001. The Game Boy Advance, or as we're going to refer to it, the GBA, was Nintendo's next big leap in handheld gaming after the Game Boy Color. At launch, it hit Japan on March 21st, North America June 11th, and Europe June 22nd. The little 32-bit powerhouse could finally deliver Super Nintendo level graphics in your pocket. Over its lifespan, more than 1,500 games were released. Everything from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire to Metroid Fusion and Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. Nintendo gave us a few versions to the original GBA with its horizontal layout, the GBA SP in 2003 with its clamshell design and front-lit screen, and then the Game Boy Micro in 2005. Tiny, stylish, cool, and the last of the Game Boy line. By the time the product ended, the Game Boy Advance family sold around 81 million units worldwide, making it one of the best-selling handhelds ever. Even today, collectors and modders keep it alive, because some legends never fade away, especially when they fit in your pocket. Before we look at the top 25, don't forget to like the video and tell me in the comments about some of your favorite GBA games. Without further delay, here are the best 25 Game Boy Advance games. Number 25, starting off our list, Double Dragon from 2003. A remake of the classic arcade game stands out as not just one of the top fighting games in the series, but also the ultimate brawler on Nintendo's handheld. It featured revamped versions of the original 4 stages from the arcade classic, plus 4 more stages which significantly boost the fun factor. The combat mechanics have also been enhanced, with designer Million drawing inspiration from later entries in the series and introducing new weapons to add some flair to the already solid gameplay. Like many scrolling fighters, Double Dragon Advance truly shines when you play with a second player, but given the game's current high price, that's going to be a little tricky to pull off. Still, it's a solid, great game, and we all know how I feel about the Double Dragon series, so this is a must-play rating from me. And again, if this game wasn't on your list, or even on your radar, 1, tell me about it down in the comments, and 2, aren't you glad you clicked on this video? If everyone's list was exactly the same, things would get boring fast. Number 24, Golden Sun. So this was one of the earliest hype titles for the GBA. Developer Camelot, which was raking in tons of cash at the time for its sports games on the Nintendo 64, went back to its RPG roots with a fresh adventure that challenged even Square's Final Fantasy teams. Golden Sun showcases stunning visuals, an engaging soundtrack, and a rich storyline. Even though it did rely on the old-school random turn-based battles, a mechanic which was about half of its gameplay, it still delivered a satisfying console-like experience on such a compact system. Its sequel, Golden Sun: The Lost Age, made some adjustments and allowed data transfer from the first game into the series, but for me, the original made the most significant impact on the Game Boy Advance. Number 23, Gunstar Future Heroes. Treasure's amazing run-and-gun game pays tribute to the classic Sega title while also being a fresh take on the Mega Drive original. Although the combat mechanics have been simplified a little bit, it still delivers a lot of tactical action as you switch between different weapons and blast your way through various levels, taking down huge, often stunning bosses along the way. Many levels will feel instantly recognizable to the fans of the original, but there's also plenty of new areas that nod to several classic Sega games. The only real downside is that it's incredibly short, featuring just 6 quick levels. You just start rocking and rolling and it's all over. Otherwise, this could have been deeper into the list. Number 22, Warioland 4. Warioland 4 really shows that quality beats quantity, featuring smart, non-linear level designs that encourage you to replay and explore more to discover all the hidden extras in each level and area. This game is perfect for the seasoned platform fans, boasting outstanding level design and a unique audio-visual style that did pave the way for the Warioware series. If you love platformers, and I'm guessing if you're watching this type of content you probably do, then Warioland 4 is definitely a game that you have to have in your GBA library. Number 21, Rhythm Tengoku. So this was Nintendo's final first-party GBA title, and it never made it to the West, which is why it's so high up on the list. However, it is still an absolute joy to play, and it doesn't require you to have much Japanese knowledge. Similar to WarioWare, it's a mix of quirky minigames featuring a distinct visual style, but again, the main goal of each wild task is just to maintain your rhythm as best you can. The mini-games varied from punching objects to using sea creatures to jump all the way to the moon. It's complete insanity, but the well-designed controls and fantastic music will have you tapping your feet along with tapping your fingers. Number 20, Sonic Advance. You know, I still find it strange over 20 years later to see Sonic in a Nintendo game and on their system. I guess because I grew up in the early 80s and into the 90s, but Sonic Team's platformers does perfectly bring back the fast-paced action and smart level design of the old Sega Genesis games, and the stages have a precision that the two sequels just can't match. The best part, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy Rose each have their own unique playstyles, giving you plenty of reasons to dive back into this and finish all 6 zones. Sonic Advance still holds a special spot in my heart and is definitely one of the top Sonic games out there. Number 19, Super Mario Advance 3, Yoshi's Island. Yoshi's Island is still amazing and fun to play after all these years, thanks to its deep exploration-based gameplay and that stunning art style. It is a platformer that offers a lot of depth and challenge. The fun of exploring comes from Yoshi's egg-based abilities, and collecting everything is a pretty big task, but it's always a ton of fun, as long as you can handle Baby Mario's constant whining when he comes off your back. While the smaller handheld screen does lessen the impact of the Super Nintendo's original amazing pastel world, this game is still one of Nintendo's best 2D platformers. If you've never played it, or you just feel like diving back in, the GBA version is definitely worth your time. Number 18, F-Zero Maximum Velocity. So even though Nintendo's console had quite a few polygon-based racing games in its later years, the title that tried to mimic the Mode 7 style of the Super Nintendo still really stands out. Maximum Velocity is a great example of this, impressing gamers at launch with a smooth racing style and tracks. The game is set many years after the original game, so you don't get to be Captain Falcon anymore. It still keeps the same mechanics though, like speed boost based on progress and F-Zero's elimination format. It all works seamlessly, resulting in one of the top racing games for the system. There were 2 sequels that came out, but they were both really pricey. Max Velocity is always your best bet. Number 17, Advance Wars. The original Advance Wars is a classic turn-based strategy game. While it may not feature the extensive roster that the follow-up games introduced, this actually makes it feel more balanced and user-friendly. It tends to be really fair, even in defeat. And during those rare moments when it might seem frustrating for you, the incredibly charming visuals and excellent soundtrack will keep you smiling. Now, I know it's been some time, and 2023's Reboot Camp was cool, but fans of this series are still hoping for a real fresh new game. Number 16, Drill Dozer. In the early 2000s, Game Freak was mainly known for Pokemon games, but they still managed to create this awesome platformer. With a vibe that feels like a stylized manga, Drill Dozer shines thanks to its excellent localization, tough and unique bosses, and creative mechanics centered around the drill that the main character, Jill, wields. The GBA's often overlooked rumble features are smartly utilized to emphasize the power of your drill, and the clever level design along with well-crafted puzzles make sure that you're constantly discovering new ways to maximize the use of your hydraulic apparatus. I would have said tool, but then somebody would have commented, "You're a tool!" Number 15, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. So it's been well over 20 years now, and I'm still befuddled by how Vicarious Vision created one of the best sports games for Nintendo's tiny handheld. Now, there are some clear trade-offs, like obviously the licensed soundtrack is just brief instrumental versions, and yeah, the small visuals can be a little tricky and tiresome on your eyes, but that doesn't take away from the fantastic pick-up and play experience, which is what you want for your GBA. It's just as addictive here as it was on a larger home console version. Even with the new isometric perspective, all the original levels are perfectly recreated and easily recognizable. On the mechanical side, it's still top-notch as well, and while yes, the moveset has been slightly toned down, it's still fun as heck, allowing players to rack up crazy scores. Number 14, Fire Emblem. Now, believe it or not, there was a time when we didn't know the name Marth. Nintendo took a chance to release Fire Emblem on the Game Boy Advance to introduce this unique RPG-style strategy game to the North American market. And thank goodness that they did, because it's definitely one of the best games in the GBA lineup. While many gameplay mechanics were borrowed from the more well-known and accessible Advance Wars, the introduction of characters that can permanently die really shook up how players approach situations in the game. Fire Emblem is a must-own for both the GBA and RPG enthusiasts. Number 13, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. Now, at this stage in the Game Boy Advance's timeline, Square wasn't fully committed to the Nintendo handheld just yet. The studio was cautiously exploring its options, and one of its initial titles, Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, brought back a PlayStation favorite with a fresh and unique plot. This GBA title delivers fantastic strategy, memorable characters, and truly tough gameplay in a portable format. It's everything you'd expect and want from an FF Tactics game, and it's great to play at home or on the go. Number 12, Super Mario Advance 2, Super Mario World. Now, with so many GBA games in its library, I could have stuck to just GBA exclusive games, but how could anyone overlook the portable version of one of the best 2D platformers ever? It's pretty much the same amazing platforming experience that was on the Super Nintendo, but there have been some changes, like making characters brighter for better visibility, and adding new dragon coins in levels that didn't have them before. Plus, Luigi is now a playable character too. It might not be the most groundbreaking updates, but it's different enough of an experience to choose the GBA cart over the SNES cart some days. Number 11, Pokemon, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. Although Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green are among the top Pokemon games out there, I think I played this trio more on the GBA. A lot of Pokemon fans weren't thrilled with Game Freak's choice to not allow transfer of your previous Pokemon, which meant that this was the first time that you couldn't actually catch them all. However, with a fresh engine and the freedom from earlier games, the series was able to explore new paths like introducing exciting new double battles and giving unique, distinctive abilities and natures to your adorable creatures. If you're enjoying this video so far but aren't really sure what you should comment, let me know which of these Pokemon games did you pick up first. I bought Sapphire first. Number 10, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. Starting off our top 10, the GBA definitely delivers when it comes to RPGs, but not many can compare to this hilariously clever adventure. The outrageously funny storyline will keep you engaged, but it's the well-designed combat mechanics that make this Alpha Dreams journey so enjoyable. If you've played Mario's previous RPG, the battle flow will feel instantly familiar, but the addition of Luigi adds a clever twist to the fights. Their brotherly bond is evident throughout the game, and the duo has several special moves that help them traverse Bean Bean Kingdom on their quest to save Princess Peach. Packed with personality, this game stands out as one of the best GBA titles available. And I know I'm probably going to get some flack from some people because I know for a fact that this is the #1 rated game by quite a few of my friends. Oh no! Number 9, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, and the Four Swords. This amazing version of Link to the Past offered a new generation the opportunity to experience a classic a decade after it first hit the Super Nintendo. There were some minor adjustments made for the handheld's smaller display. Link was definitely more vocal on the GBA due to the extra voice samples. One addition that everyone appreciated was the inclusion of the 4-sword multiplayer quest. If you had friends with GBAs and copies of the game, up to 4 players could connect for a multiplayer-only Zelda adventure. Indeed, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and 4 Swords is quite the bundle. Whether this version or the Super Nintendo Classic is the definitive one is a matter of opinion. Either way, everyone can agree A Link to the Past is still one of the best Legend of Zelda games. Number 8. Warioware Twisted. If there was one game that I'd insist everyone add to their GBA collection out of all the countless titles available, it would definitely be Warioware Twisted. While WarioWare Mega Micro games kicked off the whole short-time gameplay trend that's seen numerous sequels and imitations, WarioWare Twisted took that idea and ran with it in a fresh way. The cartridge has a gyroscopic sensor that turned the GBA into a twistable controller, allowing game designers to create all sorts of fun little games and challenges based on this feature. You can dial a phone, flip the world upside down, or even play a unique version of Super Mario Bros. Sadly, even though this game is a must-play, it ended up being overlooked by a lot of people. It sold fairly well, but never hit that sought-after million-seller status that so many Nintendo games achieve. Number 7. Mario Kart. Although the pre-rendered graphics might not have aged that well, the refined kart mechanics definitely have. Now, what makes Nintendo's portable racer so appealing is that it didn't try to change the game, but rather enhance the previous titles. You won't come across any new power-ups or characters, but you'll find 20 wonderfully crafted tracks, tough, challenging levels, and some fantastic multiplayer features. In a stroke of brilliance, it also lets you unlock the 20 tracks from Super Mario Kart, a feature that became so beloved that the series still revisits classic tracks today. It might just be a kart racer to some, but this is one of my all-time favorite GBA and Mario titles. Number 6. Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. Now, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green were remakes for the Game Boy Advance of the original classics, Pokemon Red and Blue. In Japan, the Game Boy versions were actually called Red and Green. Now, a lot of people are going to say Pokemon never really surpassed this mark, these were the 2 best games. That is a matter of opinion, but with significantly improved graphics, the chance to connect with other Pokemon games to gather over 350 of these pocket monsters, and a better user interface, this 32-bit remake had a lot to offer. For those who knew Kanto inside and out, this was the first chance to relive some nostalgia and catch all 151 original Pokemon again. Again, people will argue that this is the best of the old-style Pokemon games, and that could be hard to disagree, but this was one of the best games that came out in the middle of the 2000s.
Here we go!
Number 5. Mario vs. Donkey Kong. Back in the day of the black and white, or white and green Game Boy, Nintendo revamped its classic Donkey Kong arcade game with a modern twist, turning the barrel jumping and hammer smashing gameplay into a wide variety of full-screen puzzles. This idea laid the groundwork for the production development by NST. The Game Boy Advance's extra power not only improved the graphics, but also allowed the team to incorporate a ton of new puzzle concepts in the update. It's an awesome game that perfectly suits the Game Boy Advance's pick-up and play style, letting players easily pull out the system, tackle a couple of puzzles, and then stash it away for later. I've said this once or twice before already, but this is another must-own title for the GBA. Number 4. Metroid Zero Mission. Metroid Fusion might have introduced the series to the GBA, but it was Metroid Zero Mission that truly confirmed its importance. This design, marketed as a remake of the original game, Metroid on the NES, was so much more than that. It offered a visual enhancement with recognizable locations, yet the creators made bold choices about the game's direction. Even after it's concluded, it continues. There's more in store for players, offering a unique gameplay style that aligns perfectly with the Metroid vibe. You can love both of them, but fans will always be divided which was better, Fusion or Zero Mission. Number 3. Castlevania, Aria of Sorrow. All three of the GBA Castlevania titles are must-haves for your collection, but if you can only pick one, definitely go with Sorrow. It's not just the most visually stunning of the trio, but it also offers a deep gameplay experience thanks to the new Tactical Soul system, which lets you absorb the souls of your enemies and use them to boost your abilities of your main character, Soma Cruz. While there's no inverse castle in this one, you'll encounter amazing bosses, a fantastic soundtrack like always, and an insane variety of weapons that you have to try out. Soma's journey does continue with Dawn of Sorrow on the DS, which is considered one of the best horror games, especially for that handheld device. Number 2, The Legend of Zelda, The Minish Cap. Even though it didn't have the same leadership that was guiding the series since Ocarina of Time, the Minish Cap still managed to capture the essence of the classic Zelda game. Flagship had already done a great job with the Oracle series on the Game Boy Color, and the Minish Cap takes those strengths further by enhancing aspects like dungeon design and introducing Link to some fresh sword techniques to master. The real highlight of the Minish Cap, though, is Link's new power to shrink down in size, which really amps up the puzzle-solving elements of the series, since you have to switch between forms to discover new paths and tackle different challenges. The charming talking hat also is a fantastic addition, with his sharp-witted remarks adding a lot of humor as you explore this creatively designed world. Handheld Zelda games really don't get much better than this. And our number 1 game, Metroid Fusion. Now, a lot of people thought Super Metroid was going to get a port to Nintendo's awesome 32-bit handheld, just like the Super Mario games did before it, but Yoshio Sakamoto had different ideas. The result is Metroid Fusion, an amazing adventure that takes the series in some really cool new directions. While it doesn't give you the same freedom as other games, its more straightforward design creates a much stronger story than previous Metroid titles, and dives into Samus's character in a way that later games would build upon. Another big plus is the introduction of Samus's enemy, SAX, a lethal parasite created by her old power suit. Samus is on a quest to get her lost abilities back, which means she's always being hunted by a stronger opponent. It's a thrilling game of cat and mouse, made even better by the game's immersive visuals and the tight confines of the GBA's smaller screen. It's the best GBA game you can play on this Nintendo handheld. And that's my list of the 25 best Game Boy Advance games. Don't forget to let me know which are some of your favorite titles down in the comments. If you like this video, click on another one, check out another list. And if you like these kind of videos, chances are you're around my age, so don't forget to get up and stretch your back. Thanks for your time as always, guys. I do appreciate it. I'll see you again in a couple of weeks. Take care. Later.